Hey, how's it going everybody? Welcome back to another Empires and Puzzles video. And in this video I want to talk about the new magic troops. Before we get to this video, if you haven't checked out Gemstone Legends yet, come check it out. There are no joke thousands of players from Empires and Puzzles that have come over already, and for good reason. Simply put, it's a really fun game with some big advantages over Empires and Puzzles. We both know that the players that join these games earliest are some of the most dominant players. And this game is starting to really take off, so the longer you wait, the more you miss out on. Not only can you support the channel by using the download link in the description of this video, or by scanning the QR code on your screen, but doing so will also give you a free $50 starter bonus with an epic hero, gems, and gold coins, all for free, just by using the link or QR code provided. And then when you start, you'll gain access to beginner events exclusively for players who use the link or QR code provided that will give you another strong epic hero, a set of 5-star legendary equipment, and a platinum scroll for another guaranteed epic or legendary hero. Lastly, I have created a bunch of videos in a Gemstone Legends playlist on my YouTube channel to make learning this game as easy and fun as possible. So hit that download link in the description and get started with one of the most fun and deep Match 3 RPGs. There's a great community in Gemstone Legends, it has some huge advantages over Empires and Puzzles, and overall I think you guys are really gonna like it. This caught everyone by surprise, and I think they're making quite a splash, and it's one of those situations where I want to have a conversation about it and explain the way I think it fits into the context of the game, so that, I don't know, just feel like a big new feature like this needs to be talked about. So a lot of people are like, oh no, this is the beginning of the end, mono troops are obsolete, it's only going to be about these wizard troops, you're going to have to get these, start all over, troop leveling takes a long time. And I don't think that's true. In fact, I think it's quite the opposite. People tend to get very worked up about new things, and I think that sometimes we are just jumping to conclusions. So this is what I want to talk about. If we look at the basic differences here, you can see the main thing being the mono bonus is now plus 20% instead of plus 15%. So on the surface, it just looks like a better mono troop. However, with the standard mono troop that we're used to, you're getting plus 26% attack and plus 18% defense. So they have lowered the defensive stat, or the defensive percentage, and the attack percentage. So those stats will be lower on the heroes. So there is a trade-off there, and those are important characteristics for a hero. The other thing that's different is this healing bonus has gone from plus 20% to plus 22%, which is pretty minor. So we gave up, let's see, 6% in attack and defense collectively, and we gained 7% for mana and healing. So still an improvement, but really if we look at this from the perspective of reorganizing the stats, it's only a 1% difference. So looking at this chart real quick, you can see how the breakpoints align. So it's not a night and day difference, but it is something. So we have our standard, shout out to Governor from the forum who put this table together. Just want to give props for him for making this, to him for making this. So here's our standard mono troops that we're used to. At level 5, we get our first change. It's a 2% change. All of them are 2% changes. And then at level 11, we go to 9. At level 17, we go to 11. At level 23, we go to 13%. 23 is really significant. So that 13% is very significant. If we look at the new troops over here, the magic troops, that 13%, or in this case 14%, is had at level 17, so they can be achieved with less investment. However, the most important thing is, and this is my main point, Does this feature matter? Is this going to wreck the game? No. And why? Because troops are so slow to level. I went for 2 level 23 troops first, mono troops, and then went 1 to 29 after that. And it took me like 2.5 years to do that, not paying for troop pulls. So, who will be affected by these new troops? The biggest spenders in the game. And you need to ask yourself, are you trying to compete with the biggest spenders in the game anyways? Because I'm personally not. This is the reason why we keep our alliance at a lower ranking, why we try to hold back in that sense, because we don't we don't want to compete with the biggest spenders, because I think that is not a fun place to be in the game, because it requires you to play similarly to keep up. So for me, it doesn't bother me if someone else has troops that have a marginal gain. The rest of the people who aren't willing to drop, $2,500 to level up a set of these new troops, and that's assuming you have a bunch of ham saved up and you don't have to pay for ham refills. So, yeah, I mean, it's maybe between 2,200 and 4,000 plus, depending on how much ham you have saved up. So that's a massive cost. So it doesn't bother me if a few people are willing to do that. I just won't expect to compete with them, because why should I be able to expect to compete with someone who's going to pour that kind of insane cash into the game? So for me, I kind of just feel like I can pretend they don't exist. If I pulled some, like say for example, you're a player. This is pretty common. Say you're a player and you've got level uh, 19 mono troops. You've been working on them for a while. It's taken you a long time, and then you pull, you know, one or more of these new troops, and you go, God, are the existing mono troops obsolete, and I should just stop working on them because it's a waste of an investment and switch over to the new ones? Absolutely not, in my opinion. Get your regular mono troops up to 23. It's a hugely significant breakpoint. Um, and then work on the magic troops after that if you want to. Again, the fact that they give up attack and defense, it's not just purely better. On defense, it's probably purely better because of how mana accumulates. But again, the difference is going to be marginal. There will be a difference, but it's not this crazy thing where you just could never expect to compete. We know a lot of the success comes down to team composition and some luck to a degree. So yeah, it's not that crazy, and there's no reason why you can't just pretend they don't exist. If you're in an alliance with like-minded people, if you have your budget or you're free to play or whatever, just ignore them. If you get some, consider if you want to work on them based on how much you've invested in your regular mono troops already. Because starting one of these at level 1, they both start at 5% mana. These just climb by 3, whereas the others will climb by 2. So it's not worth starting all over just for that little bit of extra. Those are my thoughts on these new troops. I think ignore them unless say you have your troops already and you pulled some. Sure, you can start on them, but they're not just automatically the best thing ever, and regular troops are obsolete and you have to spend to keep up, and only the big players will ever be good. Like, none of that's the case. That's people getting too carried away. And I want, with this video, to kind of bring things back down to a normal level and to say you can keep playing as if these don't exist. And if you're in the right spot for your roster, etc., it won't really impact you that much. You might see them, it might be fun to play against them and see the difference, but really not that big of a deal. And when you consider the cost of leveling a new set up to 30 to be over $2,200 in the USA, I know that some countries have much worse exchange rates with the game than that, so that number can increase dramatically. Totally not worth it. Troops are a good investment in the long run, but not in the monetary sense. Just keep at it. You'll get there. And that's why if you've invested in your mono troops already, don't worry about switching over to these crazy troops. Um, So yeah, I think that's all that I wanted to mention. As with all the new things that come out in the game, there's, I don't know. I think the rush or the panic of like, oh no, things will never be the same. Rarely is that the case. It's not like everyone has a maxed set of these, or all paying players got maxed sets and all the free to play didn't, and it's widening the divide. There's always going to be the people that just want to pour tons of money into it, and I think it's reasonable that they get an advantage because otherwise, what's the incentive? There's got to be some reason to pay. So yeah, let me know your thoughts on these below. That's what I wanted to share. With these being new, I felt like it was important to talk about it, and I want to hear from you guys now to see if you agree, if you disagree, if you think there's anything that I didn't mention that should be mentioned. Um, and yeah, let's just keep open conversations happening with the new stuff that happens in the game. And I'm just going to go ahead and keep pretending that these don't exist because it's really not going to impact me that much. So please hit that like button and subscribe. Additionally, we have memberships on the channel if you want a way to support the channel and also get some exclusive perks for yourself as well. So thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you in the next video.